show is about the fans, for the fans.
As a youngster and as you get older, if you have the base and the fundamental.
How's it guys? Tatham here. I'm just finished up training now with
the upper back probably at the age of 3 and we're passing a rugby ball. About 12 seasons of Premier Club cricket.
It's been a fantastic season so far for us as the Dolphins. A really good season so far. We've got good momentum in this one-day competition.
Really performing well, bowlers, batters and fielders.
Training camp is really good. Guys are really focused.
A very good evening and welcome to another episode of Leading Edge with me, your host, Nick Tatham. Tonight, once again, we've got two fantastic guests joining me, one from Durban and the other one from Bloemfontein. Remember, folks, that you can get involved in the conversation by just commenting below the video with your questions for our two guests. And without any further ado, I'm not going to delay it anymore. Joining me from a very chilly Bloemfontein is the Hollywood Vets Dolphins assistant coach and bowling coach, Quinton Friend. Quinny, how's everything going? Well, I think that we are battling a bit with Quinny's sound, but our other guest this evening is Hollywood Vets Dolphins opening batsman, left-hander extraordinaire, and a man that has been responsible for a lot of runs for the Dolphins over the last couple of seasons, Erwee. SJ, how are you? I think we are having issues with sound on both of their sides, so we will just have a little bit of a word with them to try and get them with us. SJ, can you hear us? Any sound on your side, SJ? Doesn't look like there's anything coming through, so I'm just going to get in touch with him quickly, and we'll just be back with you in a few seconds. The show is about the fans, for the fans.
As a youngster and as you get older, if you have the base and the fundamental.
How's it guys? Tatham here. I'm just finished up training now with
the upper back probably at the age of 3 and we're passing a rugby ball. About 12 seasons of Premier Club cricket.
It's been a fantastic season so far for us as the Dolphins. A really good season so far. We've got good momentum in this one-day competition.
Really performing well, bowlers, batters and fielders.
Training camp is really good. Guys are really focused.
Alrighty, we are back again. Okay, so let's see if second time around we can get in touch with our two guests. And firstly, we're going to chat to Quinton Friend, who's joining us from Bloem. Quinny, can you hear me this time?
I can hear you nice and clear, Nick.
Fantastic. So we're having a little bit of a little chat a bit earlier off here. It's a bit chilly up in Bloem.
Yeah, it's very cold. The days have been reasonably pleasant, but mornings of -5, -6 haven't been fun. But yeah, we're dealing with it. Surely
you're missing that Durban summer or that Durban winter.
Durban winter is like summer, yeah. So missing it quite a bit. We'll be down in Durban soon.
Now we're going to be joined by our second guest, and hopefully he can hear us this time too. Joining us from Durban is Erwee. SJ, can you hear us?
Taki, I can hear you loud and clear.
Loud and clear, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so, well, that's a good start that we've got everyone on board. SJ, how's everything going? I know that the lockdown clearly hasn't been very good from a cricketing perspective and a pre-season perspective, but how are you holding up?
Yeah, good. Fun. At least the weather's holding up in Durban, so that's a positive start.
Rubbing it in there for Quinny in the -5 degrees.
Exactly.
You haven't been able to get out on the golf course yet, though?
No, I've avoided it, to be honest. I know some of the guys have been playing, but I've avoided it. I'm just waiting for everyone to calm down and the craze to just settle, and then I'll jump on board.
Well, Quinny, you were mentioning that you've had a couple of rounds. How have those gone for you? I think we've lost Quinny again from an audio perspective. Okay. Anyway, SJ, we're going to jump right into it from a sort of interview perspective. So I know that this last season clearly wasn't a great finish with the coronavirus, but that was out of everyone's hands. How do you think the season went for you personally, given that your season previous might not have gone as well as you would have anticipated?
Yeah, it obviously was a difficult start. Where what is going on here? Yeah, I can't
SJ,
see.
you can carry on. You can carry on talking, even though you can't see me. You can carry on talking.
Yeah, it didn't go according to plan the start of the season. Where obviously in pre-season I worked hard, was quite fit, probably the fittest and strongest I've been for a while, and I just had an unfortunate start where I got a shoulder injury and just hampered a bit of progress. But personally, I think the season when I did get going, it was quite satisfying in the 4-day cricket. I developed one or two skills, learned one or two things about myself in red ball cricket, and just try to hold on to that form into the 1-day competition, and just obviously struggle to convert one or two scores, to get those hundreds. Where I did that last season, but I suppose you got to learn game in and game out and every season. So all goes hand in hand, and hopefully when you do start the season, I can take those learnings into the season.
Yeah, Quinny, are you back? Can you pick us up?
I'm back
there?
again. Yeah, no, we're back again.
I think it's a signal in Bloemfontein. I think it takes a bit longer to get there.
Yeah, it's gonna be icy soon, so it could be that as well.
So, Quinny, I just want to reflect with you on your first season as a coach at the Dolphins. I know you were involved with Free State, and now coming down to the Dolphins, your first franchise gig. How's it gone for you personally?
Yeah, I mean it's been a wonderful ride so far in the first first year of coaching in franchise cricket. The Hollywood's Best Dolphins has always been a good spot for me. Even in my playing days, I really enjoyed my time there. But from a coaching perspective, it's just been great because you've got a real bunch of quality players that are really wanting to do well, wanting to perform. And it makes your job a little bit easier when guys are really wanting to work hard and to make sure that they want to succeed and become better. Obviously, what's topped it off, with us being champions of the Momentum 1-Day Cup, that's also a major highlight, for us as a team, as a squad, as a union. It's been magnificent. So now you got to take your hats off to the players. I think they've been absolutely outstanding throughout this season that's passed. And obviously, we just want to build on that and make sure that we can continue to carry on the way we have gone.
I know that the beginning of the season didn't go according to plan at all, the first sort of half of the 4-day campaign. Did you guys sort of sit down and have some serious chats halfway through that red ball campaign, and then at the beginning of the year, it seemed like a completely different side?
Yeah, it was a really tough start for us. In that first 5 games, finding combinations, was quite difficult. We had to make some big decisions regarding certain players, certain things, behind the scenes. We had to make sure that we could try and find a way of finding how we could iron certain things out. We managed to do that, and but yes, it was tough. It was a really tough start for us. But in saying that, we had to obviously find ways of making things work, put certain combinations together to obviously bring out the positive, performances of what we were looking for. We had some tough talks as a team, as a squad, and everybody brought into what myself, Imran Khan, Duduzi and Bata brought to the table. I think from a player's point of view as well, there was a lot of here and there some harsh things said. I think it was a time where everybody had to sacrifice certain things to make sure that we were able to be successful. And then obviously from January we turned a new page, and I thought everybody was really outstanding, and the buy-in from the players of what us as a coaching staff wanted to achieve, and what we wanted to bring across, worked out in very nicely for us.
SJ, I'm coming to you now, but I just want to mention to the viewers that you can ask either Quinton or SJ some questions. All you need to do is just put your question in the comment section, below the video, and hopefully we can get through as many as possible. Hopefully they're not too bad, the questions. But SJ, I'm going to come to you. You mentioned a bit earlier that shoulder injury at the beginning of the season. I know that for you getting to the MSL was the big goal after that injury. But watching the side perform how they did, was it quite frustrating for you that you couldn't sort of get involved and try and help and change the outcome?
No, I think they did quite well. Sorry, are you talking about MSL or Dolphins?
No, I'm talking about the Dolphins here. Before the MSL.
Dolphins.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, I got a bit confused there. Yeah, no, 4-day cricket, obviously, it's always a tough start in the beginning of the season. Guys trying to find their feet in match intensity. So, watching and following, the 4-day competition, the first, I think, 3 or 4 games of the season, you obviously feel for guys because you see the hard work the guys put in through the off season. So it's obviously it's challenging for guys and it's tough to watch, and follow the results. But guys aren't doing it on purpose. Everyone's giving their best and trying to upskill the whole time. So like I said, it's tough to watch from the side, but it was good to get involved again. And I think we finished the 4-day comp a bit better than we started.
But I guess you look through our whole side, SJ. You look through the side, and we've got a lot of players that play all 3 formats of the game. Do you think that that's where the game is going? I know that if you look at sort of you, Rolfie, Marcus, Kaya, everyone's playing all 3 formats basically, whether it be for KZN or in the MSL, and then for the Dolphins in 1-day cricket and in 4-day cricket. Is that the player that you have to become nowadays?
Yeah, I think it is. I think cricket's evolving so much and so quickly that if you aren't a 3-in-1 player, you're going to get left behind. And guys have shown that season there are guys that can step up to the plate and play all 3 formats. So like I said, if you can't do it, you're going to have to start catching up a bit. So it's just the way cricket's evolving.
Quinny, I guess you could say from a coaching perspective, how do you sort of differentiate between coaching a red ball bowler and then coaching someone to bowl death in a 50-over game when your seasons are so close together they're almost interlinked?
Yeah, I mean I think when you get to this level as well, franchise level, the guys are pretty well equipped, from a white ball and a red ball perspective. I think obviously from a white ball perspective, there's a lot more skill involved. That takes a lot more practice. Whereas, in first class cricket with a red ball, it's about patience. How long are you prepared to do the basics right? Those are the things that we try and, make sure that the guys do is just be consistent, especially in red ball cricket, consistent in terms of patience. Bowlers bowling in partnerships from 2 ends. They find pretty easily how to hit a length for a longer period of time because you've got to do it for a full day. As where in white ball cricket you've got 10 overs. Some guys can be put under a lot of pressure in white ball cricket early on, especially if you're bowling in that power play in the first 10 overs. And then obviously at the your middle phases are where you see a lot more of your change up to slower ball balances, those type of things. And then obviously at the death of Yorkers. But it's something that you have to practice a lot, especially the Yorker point of view. The lengths and things don't change too much from red ball and white ball cricket. If you're continuously hitting a good length, you'll do well enough. But then it's your skill levels have to be right up there when it comes to the last 10 overs.
We're going to take it back, Quiddy, sort of look back at your career. You spent a bit of time in Durban with the Dolphins. What was the thought process behind you making the move to Durban when you were playing, during your playing days?
Yeah, I mean, I started in 99, 2000 at the Cobras, at Western Province that time, and then Western Province, Boland, and Cape Cobras. And then, obviously it's, in 2006, I was told I wasn't good enough to play franchise cricket anymore. So it came as quite a shock, to be honest. In 2004, I actually had the opportunity to go to the Dolphins, which I turned down because everything had been going right. Shukri Conrad took over 2004. In 2006, he said, "I think this is it. We're not gonna renew your contract." And then obviously I'd known that the Dolphins were pretty keen for me to come over, and obviously made contact with them, and yeah, I mean, I signed up there immediately, and I was there for 4 years, and I had a really, really good time there. We had a really good side. So yeah, I mean, I must say I had an extremely good time at the Dolphins during that phase.
I think we've lost Nick for a second, so it's Dave McLeod. I'm going to step in very quickly, guys. Nick hasn't been playing his data bills down in Hillcrest, so I think he's disappeared into the darkness there. So, Quinny, just talk us through the connections you're having with the squad. I mean, are we sort of back in training? We aren't we? Kind of in the middle of nowhere, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, nobody really knows what's happening at the moment, so it makes it quite difficult, from a training perspective, about when can one start to get going, etc. But yeah, I mean, once we get the green light to step things up, we'll get stuck in immediately. I mean, you have to start planning as if the season's going to be starting on as per normal, because you can't wait on decisions to be made from a playing perspective. So hopefully from a training and practicing perspective, if we get the green light, we'll get cracking immediately.
I know people make light of this. SJ, let me ask you, how hard is it mentally? Physically, you can kind of stay in shape, and if you follow your WhatsApp training programs, you can do it. But everybody's talked about how tough it is mentally in the lockdown. It's not easy. For a player?
No, it's not. I think sure, it's a tough period to go through, especially if you don't know when you're going to restart. If you've got a start date or end date in mind, then at least you can prepare yourself. But for athletes that have got a strict routine, or that live their life on routine day in and day out, it's a tough one. It's a tough one on the mind, and I think it's probably a good time to almost find inner peace within yourself if you can as an athlete, and almost practice a bit of mental strength during this period.
Yeah. Quinny, do you take it into account when you're connecting with the guys? I'm sure Imran's got a plan to sort of subdivide you into smaller groups, but you need to kind of look beyond those WhatsApps and the messages and maybe the Zoom meetings and say, are my guys okay?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, our guys have been really good throughout lockdown. I mean, we've had numerous amount of Zoom sessions. Guys have done core sessions. They've done fitness sessions. They've been they've been keeping fit. So from that point of view, I think it's been great. We've connected on a continuous basis, which obviously makes things a lot nicer. It's nice just to see the guys doing their sessions, because us as coaches, obviously, we join in as well, but we don't do the fitness part of it. But it's not just nice to watch them. We had our days.
Sorry, I'm back. Talking about your days. Sorry, I missed a lot of that, because it's the Hillcrest signal, I think. So we were just talking about when you got told that you weren't good enough to play franchise cricket, which I thought was pretty harsh.
Yeah, so that all happened in 2006, and then I ended up retiring in 2016. So I went on for another 10 years after that. But it was, I mean, it's just great memories. Awesome times. Enjoyed every minute of it. Obviously, if I have to look back and you probably feel I didn't play for South Africa. But it's one of those things. You really had a half decent career from that point of view. But I think that's probably one area that one would look back and say it's a pity, as I probably would have loved to have done that. Had a lot of Colpack opportunities in between 2004 and 2008. Turned them all down because I felt I was pretty close to cracking the nod, getting up to the Proteas. But those are the big calls that one needed to make during your career. And obviously things could have been different, but I wouldn't change anything from that point of view.
Yeah, well, I guess just looking at your stats, 366 wickets in 117 first-class games. That should get you pretty close to a Proteas cap. Did you ever get it? Did you ever get the phone call or from any coaches or anything?
Yeah, I mean, there was a period for probably about 5 years where during that phase, I would say probably from 2003 to 2008. I played SAA for about 10 years. So I was in. I went on pretty much all the tours throughout that period, probably from 2003 to 2013. So I had a lot of SAA caps from that point of view. But it was also a tough period where, you had Mackay and Tini, you had Dale Steyn, you had Morne Morkel. It was a formidable bowling attack at that stage, and those guys had really kept fit for a long period of time. So it was really tough to crack the nod getting into that test lineup. And at that stage, everything was all around myself being almost earmarked in test cricket rather than one-day cricket. So, I had to try and find my way in that way. And then, by that time, it was probably a bit too late at the end. But like I say, I wouldn't change it for anything,
Yeah. SJ, we're going to get a bit real here with your stats. 32 first-class 50s, only 7 tons. Is that frustrating?
I think it is frustrating. I think a lot of the times a lot of those 50s came down when I was playing for Inland, and I didn't really have an identity, or I never knew how I wanted to bat. I was batting 7, then 5, then 3, then 9. So it was an interesting period of my the start of my cricket career. Was trying to kind of find my feet and find out how I wanted to play, and if I wanted to be, because I started my career as a bowling all-rounder. So now am I now still gonna carry on bowling or not? Obviously I stopped. And,
thank goodness.
Did the coach tell you?
Well, we had better spinners. We had better spinners in our academy years. So so I think it is disappointing, but I had to go through that phase to learn what type of cricketer I wanted to become. And I'm quite fortunate or lucky to have gone through that process. Where you don't take things for granted. It's a tricky time, but I'm glad I went through it and I figured out what type of cricketer I am. And obviously a couple of more hundreds would be nice, but it is what it is. And as an opening batter, you can only try to do your best and see off that new ball for the other guys to enjoy.
I guess, sort of your Dolphins career, you've been a regular member for a couple of seasons, but you're still, as you mentioned, trying to establish yourself as someone who can make that step up to a Proteas, hopefully a Proteas cap in the near future. What do you sort of see as your? You went on that SAA tour to India and you did all right in tough conditions. How important was that for you growing as an opening batter?
Yeah, I think if you look at the players we played against in that SAA tour in India, where they're playing international cricket now, so it kind of just opened your eyes, to the level and the different type of cricketers they've got over in India and what we are in South Africa, and and they threw a bit of a dummy at us where you prepare for subcontinent conditions and then you get there and it's a nice spicy greenish wicket for your 4-day games or unofficial tests, if you want to call it that. So it wasn't something we were expecting, but it's still you've got to be used to it. You've got to prepare for everything, and I think a lot of the batters on that tour learned the hard way, just watching their opening batters or watching their batters get. The one guy got a double 100. He's now playing international cricket, and he's flourishing on the international circuit. Mayank Agarwal, so, and Prithvi Shaw also. I mean, they made us fetch leather that whole trip. So, on that trip, you learn a couple of things, watching other batters, watching how they go about their business. But it was an amazing trip, and very grateful I got to experience India. Cheers, Taki.
I'm going to jump in there one. Nick's heading off to the prepaid meter to go and put some more money in his daughter account. SJ, connecting with your teammates now. Who's handling the lockdown and who's struggling? Who's coming up with weird ways of dealing with the lockdown? Quinton, I'm going to ask you just now as well.
Obviously, I've got if I look on social media, there's a lot of guys that are they're making strides on the Mshlanga Promenade, if I can call it that.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of the guys. I'm sure they know who they are. I think they post the Mshlanga Promenade walk about 3-4 times a day, and I don't know if that's for exercise, but I think it's because their eyes wander a bit. But that's probably the guys that make the most of their lockdown or handling it as good as they can.
Quinny, I'm going to ask you the same question. What's your contact with the guys like? What are you hearing?
Yeah, I mean, it's once golf opened up, that's about all you see at this stage. You can sense that the guys couldn't wait for the golf courses to open up because they're trying to keep themselves busy in that regard, definitely. But yeah, I think SJ is quite spot on there. I mean, we see quite a few guys strolling down the promenade ever so now and again. But yeah, I mean, it's been good to connect with the guys. You know, even though it's on a Zoom format, etc. Seeing them on social media here and there. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously, you know, those are the things we dealt with at the moment. But you know, we'll all be back together again soon.
As a pro cricketer, one of the things you have to do is play golf. It seems like they joined at the hip. Who are the heavy golfers? And Quinny, on the other side, who is the guy who's got no clue? Who's the struggler when it comes to a golf club? Shut up, SJ.
Yeah, I think someone like a Bosch is probably the gun, Ethan Bosch, out of the players at the moment. Yeah, there's a few guys that can actually play some decent golf. I think Dudgeon is probably another one of them. Calvin Savage, he's on his way to the Cobras now. But another one who really keen on the golf, Robbie Freilink. Yeah, and then it's a difficult one to mention because I haven't really played with a lot of guys who play badly. I probably have to give it to Marcus Ackerman.
Marcus? SJ, what do you say?
The lefty.
Yeah, I think Boshi is the keen golfer. He just, if he could play golf every day, all day, that would be him. I think that golf puts a smile on his face. I don't know. I'm not too sure why. And the struggler, from what I'm hearing at the moment, I spoke to him yesterday, and he says he's trying to find out which direction to hit the ball. There's Robbie Freilink at the moment, and funny enough, he's probably sometimes, well, most of the times, the most consistently good golfer. Always seems to find himself up there in the top 3 in the prizes at golf days. He hits it nicely, knows what to do, knows how to putt. Very good. Hello, Taki.
I'm back.
You're back. You're back.
It's the Durban internet. Terrible.
Oh, you're having storms there.
Yeah, you would have thought. Okay, SJ, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Oof. Now, a couple quick fire questions. Throw your mates under the bus here. Okay. In the Dolphin squad, you were playing against them. They were at the non-strikers end. You were bowling. 1 run to win. Who is the first guy you would man-cat?
Probably Ackers. I think Ackers short man syndrome. So I don't think he'll take it that well, and I think he'll break a couple of bats, helmets, everything, all the way up to the change room. Bye, Taki.
Taki's gone. The fines committee is going to be brutal on him. I'll tell you what, we'll wait for him to log back on. Sure. When it comes to net training sessions, Quinny, you standing at the other end trying to teach people what's going on. Who is, and maybe you shouldn't tell him this because everybody else will work this out, who is least happily being bowled big bounces?
Sure. Who bowls the most? At which batter?
Yeah, who likes to bowl them and which batter hates them the most?
Yeah, Keith Dudgeon likes to bowl a few short balls. It's difficult, From a batting point of view, the Oaks don't practice a lot of short stuff. They try and look after their teammates But every so now and again, I think when it comes to selections and stuff, and the bowlers get left out, they take out all their frustrations in the nets, and then it's bouncer overload, But yeah, I think they all get about a fair amount. I don't think one singled out, to be honest.
Yeah.
SJ, as an opening batter, who would you least like to get a quick bouncer from?
Probably the guy I'm expecting it the least from, to be honest. Sure, I don't know, but obviously, I think obviously when Darren de Pavlon's in full flight, and especially in the nets where you feel a bit cramped, and our nets aren't flat track. It's not a flat track on a Monday morning at Kingsmead when you've got to face a new ball from Darren de Pavlon. So, yeah, facing a bumper from him on a Monday morning, not nice.
Quinny, is there a thing in the squad about trying to be the fastest? Because you've got some lighties coming into the squad who are seriously quick as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, pace is this is a major bonus. If you've got someone that can bowl, with really good pace. And yes, we've got some really really good youngsters at the moment. Obviously, Leaf and Tanzi coming through. We've got Othniel Bartman that we've signed from VKB Knights. So Kerwin Mangru, he's been really good. Everybody has labelled him as a white ball specialist. And he's been outstanding, from a red ball perspective. So, there's a lot of talent, guys who are hungry to do well, guys that are wanting to perform. Obviously, de Pavlon, brilliant. Made his ODI debut this past season. So it's been magnificent to see how he's grown, and after all the injury setbacks he's had as well, and the type of positive, mentality and positive vibes that he's got now. Compared to where he was at, I think that just stands him in good stead going forward. So, from a Dolphins bowling perspective and a fast bowling perspective, I think we've got quite a lot, in the bank at the moment, which is a major bonus.
Which is pressure as well, because you've got a good spinning squad. I mean, you've got Subs Kesh, so you've got strong spinners, which mean your pacemen are playing for fewer and fewer spots in the team. Is that healthy pressure? How do you keep it healthy pressure?
Yeah, I mean it's always healthy pressure when you've got a lot of guys and you've got in competition within your squads. From a seam bowling point of view, and your pacemen, it's always good that they put in competition, or putting pressure on each other. I think it's healthy to have that competition where guys are fighting for places. This past season, obviously, it was a spin dominant season, if I can call it that. We often played 3 spinners. And 2 seamers, so it was quite difficult. It was tough on a lot of the seamers, in the sense that some of them had to miss out with regards to only being 2 spots available. We had some big injury setbacks, that of Ethan Bosch being out for the whole season as well. So that was quite a major loss for us, during the course of the season. So we had to make big calls. We needed to make calls. Listen, we've got the quality from a spin point of view. Are we going to go that route for this season and see how things go? And obviously we had to look at how we prepare wickets accordingly to what we wanted to do, and it worked out well for us.
Does it mean that we're going to start preparing spin friendly wickets? I mean, I heard this chatter start last season because we had such a good spin attack.
Yeah, I mean I just think when you've got the quality of a Keshav Maharaj and a Pranellan O'Brien, Sen Mutasamy, you feel that they will be able to deliver on pretty much anything that gets given to them, or that they got a bowl on. So I just think from that point of view, yes, you got to find a fine balance as to in your home conditions what's going to work well. Now that you're looking at a very good seam attack that we have at the moment, in terms of in a whole, we've got a really well balanced bowling unit now. We've still got Robbie Freilink in there as well. So, we've got a lot of youth, a lot of experience, guys that are probably knocking on the door for high honours as it is already. So, those are the little decisions you're going to have to make, during the course of the season, and tough ones.
Good news. Well, let's see if Nick is back in the house. Nick,
Okay, I'm back. I think I've managed to sort out my internet. Speaking of tough decisions, SJ, we're going to go back to you with my quick fire questions. Hope we can get them done before I lose signal again. Okay, the man Cad. Did you give me an answer? I didn't hear.
Yeah, Ackers. Just because I know he's short man syndrome, he'll break bats, helmets. He'll hit everything on the way up to the change room. He won't handle that very well. So I'd love to see that reaction from him.
the poison dwarf.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. You've got the sidearm in your hand. You've got a brand new kookaburra. You're in the academy nets. Who are you bowling to, or who are you throwing to?
Yeah, probably Kerwin Mangru, just because he's got a funny stance at the moment, and obviously as a quick bowler, I just want to repay the favor a bit. But I'd love to see him just whiz one past his ears to see his reaction and how he handles it with his new stance.
Talk me through this new stance.
No, he looks like a tortoise. He's got a
All
bit of
right.
a wiggle, and yeah, it's a strange one, but it seems to work for him.
Oh yeah. Okay. Now, fines meetings. We're not going to delve into them, but who's the most disruptive person at a fines meeting?
Sure. It's probably. I think there's. I'm going to say Ackers again, just because he's a lightweight. He's a lightweight. One or
Okay.
two beverages that he consumes is more than enough for that body weight, and he's all over the shop. And he's naturally just a chirpy person already. So if you add fuel to the fire, then you've got a bit of an issue.
Oh no. We're gonna have to get Ackers on here. I said last week because the poor guy's getting drawn through the coals here quite heavily. Okay. And
I
then
don't know how he's going to defend himself.
okay. And then the last one. Here we go. This is an interesting one. Who's got the worst banter in the slip court? Including the wicketkeeper. I know you spent a lot of time in the slips before that cricket. So who's got the worst banter?
In the slip cordon.
In the slip cordon.
Okay, so there's only been a handful of us in the slips, and the one guy he's got quite a dry sense of humor, doesn't really show much emotion. It's probably because I stand at first slip, it's the guy on my left, and that's usually Grant Rulofsson, and dry sense of humor, doesn't show much emotion when he's keeping. Obviously shows a lot more emotion when he's batting. But yeah, I think his banter is a bit dry, to say the least.
Okay, Quinny, you could be called a radio personality, I think, maybe even a TV personality. Your time with SABC, was that not a career opportunity that you missed?
Yeah, I think from a commentating point of view, I think it's it was a really good time for me, straight out of cricket to go into that line. Obviously I went into the coaching as well, so it was quite difficult to balance it all because the whole summer, it's pretty much just internationals throughout the summer. And but yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed my time in the commentary box. I still feel I'll do an odd game here and there when getting an opportunity to do so. But no, I wouldn't. I mean, I really love coaching. It's always been a passion for me, even when I was playing, helping youngsters, etc. So yeah, I'm really loving it at the moment. It was a good first year in franchise cricket, and really looking forward to what lies ahead.
All right, Esther, I'm going to ask you just one last question. Looking at your career going forward, from a format perspective, do you have a favourite format? Is white ball cricket your best? Four-day cricket your best? Where do you sort of see yourself going forward?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and I find myself asking myself that question yearly, actually, or season. There's one season that I'll enjoy the red ball format, and then you seem to do well in the white ball format, and vice versa. So it's an interesting one, and I don't think there's one that I actually prefer. I'll just try to do the standard basic in each format each time that I play. So yeah, if you put a gun to my head, I wouldn't be able to give you an answer to it. It chops and changes as the seasons go along.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time. Quinny, stay warm and bloom. SJ, we'll see you soon, I'm sure. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Cheers, thanks, Nick. Appreciate it, man.
Cheers, Quinny.
Well, that's
The
show is about the fans, for the fans.
As a youngster and as you get older, if you have the base and the fundamental.
How's it guys? Tatham here. Just finished up training now with
Picked up a bat probably at the age of 3 and was passing a rugby ball. About 12 seasons of Premier Club cricket.
It's been a fantastic season so far for us as the Dolphins. A really good season so far. We've got good momentum in this one-day competition.
Really performing well, bowlers, batters and fielders.
Mood in the camp is really good. Guys are really focused.